Okay, let's get started. Welcome everybody to today's weekly town hall meeting, May 29th, 2023. We're almost halfway through the year. Today's agenda: project and development updates, documentation updates, marketing updates, and collaborations. Robinson, please start us off with project and development updates.
Sure. Thank you. The first one here, the Peerplays one blockchain updates. So the last week, in fact, for the last couple of weeks, we have been we first of all we did a release that is a beta release, and we have been verifying various functionalities, and the most important one where we are having challenges is the Bitcoin support. And with Libitcoin, we've been verifying this with a local desktop connected to the internet, where in the internet we have the witness node running. So what's happening lately is that we are seeing the TCP packets with the Bitcoin blocks. They're not getting acknowledgements when we are using this in the WAN or in the internet. But at the same time, we are receiving the blocks and TCP confirmations when we are using the Bitcoin based setup in the inside the LAN. So we are investigating this further, but we don't have the necessary environment. That is, we're still lacking an environment where we have the both the Bitcoin and Witness node is running in the internet, essentially in a WAN environment. So we have still having challenges due to the environment limitations, but at least we know what's happening. The TCP on the TCP level, there's something going on. So it looks like when there are larger Bitcoin blocks on the at the TCP stack level, the packets are split into multiple packets or resent after failure, but they're not getting delivered. So it looks like the local router in this home setup is blocking these TCP packets. So that seems to be the reason why we are not uh, receiving these recent TCP packets. In any case, as I had indicated earlier, we are planning to go ahead with the release without the Libitcoin support. And for that, the prerequisite is there is a testnet being set up, like a local testnet, but anybody is welcome to join this. So this not local testnet actually, it's actually a public testnet. I stand corrected. So this public testnet, we are planning to have a hard fork on June 5th, and if the hard fork goes fine with all the functionalities, that is uh, primarily the Sun functionality, including Ethereum Sun. If all this goes well, we will plan for a mainnet release immediately afterwards. So I would assume that this testnet upgrade goes fine, and we'll plan a mainnet release with a hard fork date around June 15th. So that's a major update from the blockchain team. Uh, okay, now let's go to the next slide for the Peerplays 2 updates. So the updates on Peerplays 2 is minimal because we have been working primarily on the Bitcoin again, because we somehow wanted to uh, release it because we have not done any release in this last 2 quarters on the storage side. So we need, as I indicated previously, we are looking for a means to store text data on the chain, and we are exploring the efficient mechanisms for the same. So we have a test smart contract in Solidity deployed, and which stores small amount of text. So we are trying to access it through various means, and trying to find out the best method. Now, I think from this week onwards, most of the team will switch to Peerplays 2, and we will have more development happening on Peerplays 2 from this week. For next, so on the next, we have small bug fixes happening. In addition to it, the major work is on the Explorer feature. So we are adding few screens and extending some of the screens to support or give it full-fledged explorer-like capability. So this also adds support for new pages like rich list, which will give you a list of ownership of various tokens. So this support is being added, and in addition to the UI changes, there will be an API also be made available. So the release, and we are also planning a next release with support for the changes in the mainnet. So that would be planned sometime uh, by mid June. That is after the mainnet completes the hard fork. So, but these Explorer features may not get live by then because we have only one person, one resource working on it. But some of the related bug fixes like enhancements to the uh, account page or the individual account pages, etc. That will go live. That's next updates, and let's go to the next slide. On together, we made I guess we made a lot of progress. I think the most interesting one was we have some of the POCs, primarily for the OpenAI integration, which we managed to test. So there is a content being generated based on the input being given. So the quality of the content and how to make it easy for the end users, etc. So we are exploring this with the POC. So that POC which Sean or Hiltos did a POC which looked really good. Apart from that, we have also completed the designs. Most of the design is done, and we have a theme identified. So the next work which is happening with the from the UI team or the UI the interaction design team is that they're working on the UI kit. So we're working on a UI kit which uses and design components. So that work is in progress. On the development side, the database schema design, those aspects are going really well. In addition to it, we're trying to do some of the initial screens so that we get more clarity on how to do the user management and various other permissions, group permissions, etc., which is also going really well. So we're using GraphQL on top of PostgreSQL for this particular application. So the configuration and setup of all those components is that's also in progress. So in general, the application is looking pretty good. And now that we have most of the items figured out, like the UI design, etc., in the upcoming weeks, we'll have a lot more progress on this as well. Yeah, and we are also trying to, something else that's happening in this context is we need to host certain APIs, primarily APIs which will give data regarding elected officials. So those APIs, we have identified some APIs. For the US, we may be planning to use the Civic API, but for Canada, we don't have any readily available APIs from a SaaS provider. So we found an organization called Open North. So they have published an API. So we're trying to uh, use it, but we may not be using their API directly, but rather we'll be taking their data and code base and trying to host it on our end so that we can provide the necessary uptime and make sure that it's available when it's required. So that's update on together. So in general, this is looking really good, and I think in the next few weeks we may be able to share some screenshots as well. So that's the major updates from the development team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bobinson. Sean, documentation updates, please.
Hello, thank you. So a quick update for our documentation. Our in progress, we have our Ethereum Suns flow diagram, which will look much like what we have on the right here. This one is the Hive Suns flow diagram, but we're creating one for Ethereum Suns. Also upcoming, we have Libitcoin documentation. And as always, we have our ongoing Together MVP and our peer view design with working with GBC. And that's my update for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, next up we have marketing and content updates. We're going to go through Together and Community. That'll be presented by Vlad. And then Oksana will jump in for graphics and branding right after Vlad. Vlad, take us off on SMG content.
Thank you. So I've been posting on all socials. YouTube Shorts have been performing the best out of all our channels lately. With SMG, we're going to focus on kickstarting Together socials this week. So this involves defining the key audience, maybe creating some new visual content that we'll be reviewing. We also have to review exactly which CTA we want. This was pretty much defined last week, but I think we need to exactly define, like, where do we want people to convert exactly in the first launch. We finished reporting product specifics to them, so they're done with their discovery phase. We shared the designs that we have so far that were ready to be shared. There'll probably be more being shared this week. And as mentioned last week, we want to start with 300 users per municipality in Nova Scotia. So that's like 15,000 users. So that's sort of like the first KPI. So we may get an iOS app for Zone soon. We're still testing the APK. I think I'm hoping to release it this week if we can. But yeah, I heard we might get an iOS app soon. And yeah, as usual, the community is encouraged to look at our blog and newsletter to stay updated. And if we have any Together updates via newsletter, it might be through a new newsletter. So yeah, that's all from me.
Okay, so and for graphic and branding, the initial mock-up for all the website pages is ready and soon going to be developed. Pages like welcome page, vision page, career, contact, blog, and others were created in Adobe XD and right now is on the process of development by Dave. With additions of various interactive illustrations for the users to have a better experience. We are making continuous tweaks to existing graphics and pages to make them as creative and relevant as possible. So Peerplays website will be fully customized to align with the branding position and how we want to represent it. Next slide, please. So here are some of the demo mockups. As you can see, you can scroll further. Next slide. Thank you. So some of the animations that we can see here and some of the small tweakments that we would make just to make it all look interesting and interactive as possible. Next slide, please. So also in the various places, we are using card systems that are having better scrolling rates and bring more impact than lists. So UI cards are very adaptive and would look good on any screen sizes. So we decided to use them as much as we possibly can. Next slide, please. And this is another demonstration of a mock-up of a witness page and some of the illustrative interactive designs that we are creating just for the demo purposes. So that is from me and from Dave as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Oksana. Jonathan, collaboration updates, please.
Thank you. So these are the collaboration updates for this week with Peerplays. we had a brief call with Government Blockchain Association in regards to decentralized ID. It was relatively short. I think that it got pushed out to this coming week, so we may have more updates on that. There hasn't been any other collaboration meetings in this past week, so nothing to update on those. As far as dedicated team updates go, we are still seeking out a part-time DevOps. We've had a few candidates that were almost there, but not quite, and we're still seeking them out. So if you know anybody, please be sure to send them to the Peerplays LinkedIn page where you can find the listing there. And that is the updates for this week.
Thank you, Jonathan. Questions, comments, thoughts? I've had 2 questions come in from the community. The first question, Jonathan, these will both be for you. The first question, are there any plans to release trading of PPY on Hive Engine?
So in regards to Hive Engine, I'm not aware of any plans to do trading of PPY on Hive Engine. If anyone is working on this, though, they're welcome to reach out for any technical help, though. If someone is working on it, this is being asked because someone is actually mentioned something about it, then I'd suggest Hive Suns would be a good place to start. I imagine you would want to be involved in Hive Suns if you were going to be doing something with Hive Engine. So yeah, be good to get involved, and that would help with any kind of technical aspects while providing a steady supply of PPY to support operations for trading on Hive Engine. So that's all the info I have on that.
Thank you. A follow-up question to that is Together going to incorporate PPY?
Good question. So TLDR of it is, yes, it will. To give a little bit more perspective, though, what will happen is following the MVP release, there will be multiple go-to-market tests that will take place at least for a couple of months. Once the brand and the go-to-market approach is identified from these tests, we will then start to incorporate more elements like the addition of cryptocurrencies, including PPY, in a way that makes sense with a mass market. It's important to understand that Together is not designed for the crypto market. I know that in the crypto space, apps that are and games that are created are generally created with, really trying to put it onto people who are already into crypto. Together doesn't take that approach at all. This essentially is a tool designed to support the game of governance with current real world systems. When crypto elements are incorporated into it, it will need to be appeared it will not appear like what we see in typical crypto apps. So there will certainly be a combination of NFTs, of coin type assets, but they will need to be used in such a way that it supports what people are looking to achieve through Together. So while we have some ideas on how this might work or how this might look, it's only after we do the market tests in the release and that we will be able to best identify the approach that will be optimal for the enjoyers of Together. So that's essentially the long version of it, but the short answer is yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, that is everything that came in from the community. Is there any questions for the team here? And that will conclude today's weekly town hall meeting, May 29th, 2023. Thank you all so much for joining us and have a great week.